base and the hollowed key, and I'm going to set up something of a farm. So we need to find our bucket so we can place some lava. Oh, the solar eclipse is happening on its own. So, that said, we are going to return to base, head over to our arena, and fight this stuff. There you have it, the Solar Eclipse event. Very, very tough monsters, but very good drops. We have a very powerful yo-yo. Very nice accessory. Increases all stats, but only during the night. Combines very well with a sunstone, which is dropped somewhere else. We have a Ruthless Deadly Spear Staff, which is a summon, which is much stronger than our Optic Staff. So I think we're going to be using this from now on. See how he does against that zombie there. Very nice. We got a Death Sickle, which is a pretty good melee weapon. Its damage of 63 is a little bit misleading because it fires out these sickles that spin in place for a while and continue to deal damage over time. If I can find someone to use that on, I'll demonstrate it. Here we go. So as you can see, very fine weapon. Yeah, the most important drop, the heroes, or broken hero sword, or whatever it's called, that did not drop this time, which is kind of uncommon. We killed a lot of stuff and still didn't get it, so I'm a little bit disappointed by that. But that's not the last it's not the last one of those that we're gonna fight. We also got a lot of cash from that. 83 gold after we sold the extra stuff we didn't want. So, good times. Anyways, let's go back to our ice biome farm. Let's go and use our battle potion. What the heck was that? there it is. We got our frozen key finally, after many hours of farming. So now we need to go to the underground hollow to farm the hollow key. So what we're going to do while we farm this key is just collect some more crystal shards, because they're ever so useful, both for bullets and for making potions. I know we've got plenty of potions right now, but once we get into these really hard events and bosses, we're going to go through those pretty quickly. Now these glowing human looking guys, these are chaos elementals. They're somewhat difficult to fight until you get stronger gear like we have now. But you want to go out of your way to kill them because they have a chance of dropping a very rare item that allows you to teleport short distances. It used to be incredibly useful. They've somewhat nerfed it in a, not the most recent patch, but one of the more recent patches. You used to be able to do it indefinitely, just based on how much mana you had. Now if you do it too often, it hurts you a lot. But still very useful item for getting around quickly. Now farming near these big lava pits can be kind of dangerous. The key is rare enough that it's not going to melt in the lava, but it could be down in the bottom of one of these pools and you wouldn't even know it. Not to mention the items that are less rare, such as coins, are going to melt in that lava, and so that's not good. Oh, there's the key. Okay, we got pretty lucky on that one. Didn't have to farm nearly as long. That's just the way these things go. So let's get out of here. We're gonna manage our inventory real quick, sell off some extra stuff, and then we're gonna head into the dungeon and see what these chests hold for us. Right here, this is both of the chests that we want to open. So here's the frozen chest, and that gives us our Staff of the Frost Hydra. And that is a useful item no matter what class setup you have. Let me show you what it does. When you summon this thing, it's kind of like that Queen Spider staff. It summons this turret that shoots at stuff for you. And it lasts a long time. I think it lasts for like a minute and a half. So that's going to be very useful in these larger events because we can just plant one of those and then continue to fight. Inside the hollowed chest, we have our rainbow gun, which is another, well, it's useful for spellcasters, we'll put it that way. The Frost Hydra, everybody should get one of these. The rainbow gun, I'd say only get it if you are a spellcaster, because it is just a very powerful magic weapon. And much like its name implies, it summons a rainbow. But this rainbow will damage anything that passes through it. So, and it covers a large area and continually deals damage over time. So as you can see, incredibly powerful. And right now it has something of a weak modifier. Yeah, see how it just destroyed those mobs there? Mobs. I sound like a Minecraft player. Yeah, that whole group of enemies just shredded all of them. And we're definitely gonna show this to Goblin Tinker, get it re-rolled to something better. I mean, this weapon by itself will single-handedly beat the destroyer in just a matter of seconds. And we got our black belt. Cool. So I can show you guys the Master Ninja gear. Oh, I'm about to die. Okay, time to go. I'm out of here. Let's finally make that thing with the black belt. Alright, so we got our climbing claws, our shoe spikes, our tabby, and our black belt. So those 4 ingredients combine to make Captain Planet. No, I'm just kidding. The climbing claws and shoe spikes combine to make the tiger climbing gear. And then all 3 of those combine, the climbing gear, the precise tabby, and the black belt, combine to make Master Ninja gear. And you're probably starting to see the pattern. These 3 things combined give you the effects of all 3 items while only taking up 1 slot in your inventory. Now, if you're going to be a melee character, you might want to consider this set only because it gives a chance to dodge attacks. For any other class, it's not really necessary because you're going to be more mobile. But let me equip it for a moment so I can showcase some of the features. So it can latch on the walls, and you can press down to slide down the wall at will, which, you know, is kind of fun if you want to be some kind of ninja. It also, if you double tap in one direction, your character will kind of dodge out of the way. And this stacks very well with your running boots, as it gets you up to full speed in a heartbeat. And you can even keep mashing it every now and then to run a little bit faster than normal. But excuse me, for this setup, I'm not going to be using it. So let's put that away. Let's go ahead and re-roll our rainbow gun. Where's our goblin tinker? Yeah, don't forget to collect your money from the tax collector. It's very important. Alright, so this is going to be very expensive. You may have noticed that I have a lot of gold. I got 10 platinum. But every time I re-roll this thing, it's going to cost at least 6 gold. It's only 6 gold right now because it's got kind of a poor modifier on it. But now that it has a good modifier, it's going to cost 16 to re-roll it. I might just want to stick with this one. It's not the best modifier, but it's got my increase in damage and a reduction in mana cost. That's gonna be good. That one's okay. I'm not really using this Spectre staff. Just doesn't have the area of effect that you really need out of a endgame magic weapon. So I'm going to trade that one in. Alright, so we're definitely keeping the golden showers. Definitely keeping Shadow Beam. Rainbow gun. That Inferno fork is nasty. Oh, we definitely want our Magnus Spear up here. See, we've got a lot of fun toys to play with as a magic user. That's why I kind of lean this direction at the end game. Let's see. I do not need 427 marble blocks. I think what happened is that glow stick I had there, I accidentally used it. So let's try and get as much of this stuff up here as we can. So we've got 7 different flavors of magic weapon that we can almost use simultaneously. If we're really quick with our number buttons, we can get most of these in play at the same time, all dealing damage, and that adds up in a big hurry. Now, I'm not going to take the time to farm for the other items, but I can show you what two of them look like. I have them on other characters, so I'm going to go and get them right now and show them to you guys. Alright, so here we are on one of my other characters that has done most of the things in the game. He even has the Rod of Discord I was telling you about that allows you to teleport about, but deals damage if you use it too often. Also has the axe, which is a very rare drop from the Terraria boss, but it is the strongest axe in the game. Decent weapon too. Also has the light pick saw. I guess it's just the pick saw, but that is a rare drop from the golem and is the only tool that can mine through the jungle temple walls. So I have not opened a corruption chest out of the dungeon, so I cannot show you the vampire knives or vampiric knives, whatever they've called it. But I've opened the corruption chest, and that gives you the Scourge of the Corruption, which in all honesty is kind of underwhelming for the late game. It does just fine against regular slimes, but as soon as I can find a tougher opponent, then you'll see that it's kind of lacking. Yeah, so this is a good example. Most other weapons would have killed that thing very quickly, no problem. I suppose it does alright against crowds, but it doesn't have that persistent damage over time like the hollowed and snow weapons do. So the other item, which is not incredibly powerful, but still is kind of fun to use, is this piranha gun. And that comes from the jungle biome key. And it's hard to see what it's doing when the enemies are on fire like that. Alright, this will work. So you can see the projectile flies out, latches on, and then just continues to deal damage to that single target. And does that damage pretty quickly. And against certain enemies and certain bosses, it is actually pretty effective, as you can just fire it and then not worry about it and just kind of fly around and dodge attacks. But it's lacking in that oh so important crowd control department, where you really need a weapon to be able to deal lots of damage to lots of enemies at the same time. So that's why it tends to end up in my storage. Now that we have our super powerful weapons, what I think we'll do is we'll reforge these, try and get as much damage out of them as we can. And we are going to take some worms, truffle worms to be exact, and we are going to go fight the next boss, which is Duke Fishron.